You walk into a room, hear one sentence, and suddenly your stomach drops because you know this exact moment already happened. Up to 80% of you will feel this at least once. But the answer is not a past life, a dream, or the universe buffering. It is stranger than that. Your brain may be catching a memory error while it is still happening, and that tiny error tells you something uncomfortable. Your sense of reality has a label maker. Sometimes it slaps the wrong label on the present. For a few seconds, now gets stamped as before. Remember that stamp. It comes back later. The obvious explanation is the fun one. Déjà vu feels like evidence. Maybe you dreamed this moment last week. Maybe your soul remembers another life. Maybe time is looping, and you just noticed the seam. It feels impossible to dismiss because the feeling is not weak. It is not like vague nostalgia. It arrives like a police siren inside your skull. You do not think this happened before, you know it did. Here is the problem with that. Déjà vu almost never gives you useful information. You cannot usually predict the next sentence. You cannot name what happens next. You cannot pause the universe and win a bet. Wait, that matters. If déjà vu were a real memory of the future, it should contain details. But most of the time, it only contains one thing: familiarity, not the memory, just the feeling that a memory should be there. It is like seeing a username with no profile picture. You recognize the account, but everything else is blank. That split is the first clue. Your brain does not store memory as one solid file. It is more like a messy group chat. One part tracks places, one part tracks emotions, one part tracks facts, one part tracks whether something feels familiar. Usually, they agree. You see your kitchen, your brain says, familiar. Then it supplies the memory. You have made cereal here 1,200 times. But déjà vu is different. The familiarity alarm fires. The memory file does not open. So you get the weirdest possible message. This is familiar, but I have no idea why. That is déjà vu in its simplest form. But simple is not the same as harmless, because the machinery behind that feeling sits near some very serious wiring. Deep in your brain are memory circuits in the temporal lobe. They include the hippocampus and nearby regions. These areas help you connect places, events, and context. They answer a quiet question all day. Have I been here before? Now here's the creepy part. People with temporal lobe epilepsy can get intense déjà vu as an aura. An aura is a warning sign before a seizure. For them, déjà vu can arrive like thunder before lightning. Doctors have even triggered déjà vu by electrically stimulating temporal lobe areas. Tiny current, massive certainty. That does not mean normal déjà vu is a seizure. It usually is not. But it shows something important. The feeling of having lived a moment before can be switched on, not by time travel, by tissue, by electricity, by a small storm in memory circuits. Remember that tiny storm. It explains why the feeling can be so intense. Your brain is not calmly suggesting a possibility. It is activating the same systems that normally certify experience. Like a bouncer stamping your hand at a club, except you never entered. So why does it happen during normal life? One leading answer starts with a boring scene: a hallway, a table, a lamp, a doorway on the left. Nothing magical. But maybe years ago, you saw a place with the same layout. You forgot the actual place. Your brain did not forget the pattern. Psychologist Anne Cleary and other researchers have tested this idea using virtual scenes. People explore one scene, then later see a different scene with a similar layout. They can feel déjà vu, even when they cannot identify the earlier scene. That is unsettling. Your brain can recognize a shape you cannot consciously remember. It is like walking past a stranger wearing your childhood bedroom as a mask. You cannot name it, but your body flinches. This pays off the hallway. A new place can secretly rhyme with an old place. Your conscious mind hears nothing. Your familiarity system hears poetry. Then it shouts, "We have been here." But there is another layer. Some scientists think déjà vu is not just a memory glitch. It may also be an error-checking signal. Your brain detects a conflict. One system says familiar. Another system says impossible. You know you have never visited this exact cafe. You know this conversation is new, so the brain flags the contradiction. That may be why déjà vu often feels eerie, not comforting. It is not just recognition. It is recognition being challenged in real time. Imagine your phone saying the password is correct and wrong at once. You would not feel informed. You would feel haunted. Researchers still argue about the exact cause. There may not be one single cause. Some cases may come from forgotten similarity. Some may come from timing errors. Some may come from small bursts in temporal memory circuits. But the full answer is this. Déjà vu happens when your brain produces the feeling of familiarity without the matching memory. Then another part of you notices the mismatch. So the present moment feels both new and already lived. That is the stamp from the beginning. Your brain stamps now as before. Then it realizes the paperwork is missing. That is why you cannot prove it. That is why it fades so fast. And that is why it feels like a glitch in reality. Because for a second, your reality checking system catches itself lying. Now the darker part nobody talks about. Déjà vu feels supernatural because your normal life already depends on hallucinations that work. You do not experience raw reality. You experience reality after your brain has sorted it. Familiar, new, safe, dangerous, mine, not mine. Those labels appear so fast, you mistake them for the world itself. But déjà vu exposes the label maker. It shows you the sticker before it sticks. And once you see that, memory gets less solid. Because remembering is not replaying a video. It is rebuilding a scene from pieces. Each time you recall something, your brain can update it. A smell gets added, a face gets sharpened, a detail gets quietly replaced. You are not opening a museum drawer. You are remaking a sandcastle near the tide. That is why eyewitness memory can fail. That is why childhood memories can feel crystal clear and still be wrong. That is why a song can drag you into a summer you barely remember. Your past is not stored behind glass. It is alive, and living things change. Déjà vu is one tiny crack in that system, but there is an opposite crack too. It is called jamais vu. That means never seen. You look at something familiar, like your own written name, and it suddenly feels alien. The same machine fails in reverse. The familiar loses its stamp. Your name becomes a strange symbol. Your street becomes a movie set. Your own hand can feel briefly unreal. So the question flips. Why are you not feeling glitches constantly? Because most of the time, your brain is an incredible liar. It lies smoothly. It hides the seams. It turns electricity into a world. It turns patterns into places. It turns labels into truth. And once in a while, the lie arrives 1 second early. You call it déjà vu. For a moment, the present wears the mask of the past. And that connects to something even stranger. Why can a smell unlock a memory you thought was gone forever? If this scratched the right part of your brain, subscribe to Mind Itch. A new question every single day.